So Dr. Chris Black here, Master Your Life, and my thing is health and wellness. So I look at the whole man, and of course my thing is health and wellness, so every day I'm always doing a lot of things that speak to all the parts of me, my physical, my mental, emotional, all of that. And I've been doing it so long now, I'm trying to be, I'm disciplined. I have a journal, and in my journal, I ask myself a question every day. What did I do today to help me physically? What did I do? And even when it comes to my business, what did I do today that helps my tomorrow? Can I answer that question? And so it leaves a lot of questions out. Am I working on purpose or not? So just to give you just a little bit, just so you know just where I'm coming from. So I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Not able to walk, not able to a lot of things. And that's what started really my journey into health and wellness. To understand how the foods work with my body and how my mind work with my body. So I don't eat meat, a lot of things I don't eat, but because of that, that's why I'm sitting here right now. I don't take any MS medication, haven't done it in 15 years. Couldn't walk, now I can run, I can do everything anybody else can do. So health and wellness is so important. Your daily activity is very important. A lot of people, he mentioned something earlier, you don't stop, you're gonna die. And at that point, you still say, I have some of my clients and I tell them, you know what? You need to stop eating this meat. And instead of stop eating, you know what they say? Well, I still got some in the freezer. So if I cook it over the weekend and I start on Monday, that's your problem. And I simply say this, my life is more important than the meat. My life is more important than that fried chicken that you want. It's more important than putting that sugar in your whatever. I don't do sugar, so putting in, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I know if it's Kool-Aid, whatever. My life is more important than that. I want to live longer than you say that food tastes. Did you know that meat don't have a taste? It doesn't have a taste. It has a texture.
See?
So I don't have a problem not eating meat. I can have that same seasoning on something else. Because and some people say, well, it's about the texture for me. No, for me, it's about my life. So what are you doing every day? Start asking yourself that question when you get up in the morning. One of the first things I do, I have a journal, I write in it every day.
That's right.
And one of the first things that I do is gratitude. What the first thing, I'm glad I'm alive. I'm grateful I have a roof. So that's the first thing that I do. I meditate, pray, I go work out, drink my water. So those is a list of things that I do just to make sure I can continue to maintain. I don't want to be an older person and I can't walk, I can't enjoy life. I want to grow older gracefully. So
I would say my thing is to stay active, educate yourself, and listen to good music. And the way the music comes into play, it gets you moving. How many times you listen to good music, you move? You're staying active. You walk around this table 10 times, you're staying active. But if you don't walk around at all, you're not doing anything. Like you said about the car. If you don't start your car for 6 months, what's going to happen? Right? You have to start that car every day and let it run. This is your car, your body. Start it every day, let it run.
All right.
All right, y'all. Guess I gotta throw that fried chicken in the refrigerator. So we have some more audience questions. How can we get our boys or young men more interested in their health and wellness? Maybe one or two of us can elaborate on that a little bit.
lead by example. That's the first thing. You have to make it that is I don't want to be sick. You know, we as black men, we don't have time to be sick. We can't afford to be sick.
That's right.
We always have to be grinding. We always have to be the protector. We always have to be, I'm him. We got to show them that you don't have to be him. It's okay to not be okay. If you have something going on, just go get it checked out and fixed. Because like I said, those chronic illnesses become acute illnesses. So my message right now for us men is to lead by example for our younger men.
How can we better prepare our children, especially our boys, to prepare them to be more financially literate, and then physically, spiritually, and emotionally healthy? So let's start with the finance piece. How can we prepare them to be more financially literate?
Oh my.
Love that question, right? To start with, do the work myself
Do the
to
work.
become educated about what financial literacy looks like. Right? We talked about lead by example. A lot of what we share from generation to generation, our communities have been blocked out from participating in the wealth transfer, the knowledge about how to handle our finances. So step one, I gotta become educated. And step two, when that happens, we can, by example, or deliberately involve our young people, boys and girls. I'm a father of both, right? So both our little boys and girls, we can enroll them into empowering conversations about money, the way that finances work, so that they can participate in some of the daily activities that happen financially that impacts the whole family, right? So my daughter, 8 years old, she loves to ask me, can we invest in this company? McDonald's, Mattel, things like that. She's 8 years old, right? Because I started talking to her about the difference from buying from companies and owning companies, right? So I'll let us move on to the next one. I think that's something that we can all do, is commit to becoming financially literate ourselves so that we can be a better example for the young people.
Yeah, once again, this is leading by example. The spiritual part of it is something that I had to learn through a process of how often do they see me praying? How often do they see me reading the Bible? How often do they see me talking or even asking them, what can I pray for you about? So it's leading by example to a point where now, if they see it's consistent, they see that it's serious to you and that you are serious about it, and as they grow older, it becomes part of who they are. And then now the questions and the answers that they have, and you have an answer for them to help them to develop more spiritually in who God has called them to be.
Y'all gonna make me cry in a minute. Hold on. I'm serious, I'm not playing. How I did it for me is I had to apologize to my sons that I didn't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, I really had to come to grips with, my mama didn't know, my daddy wasn't there. I didn't know how to be a son because I'd never been one. You know what I mean? So I had to really admit that I didn't know. And one day I had to tell my son this. He was a teenager at the time. And I took him some lunch at school. He didn't expect me to pop up at school, but I popped up at school and took him lunch. I took him outside. I just want to apologize to you because it was on my heart to do so, because I did not know what I was doing thus far raising you. And I had to just let it be real and put it all on the table. But from then, we both learned together how to do it. So he sees me doing it, and he sees me doing it. He's doing it with me. So by me just being honest and open, just saying like, man, I had no idea what credit was. Like, I had no idea what being able to cry is. Because I was never allowed to. You know what I mean? So me, I raised him tough. to be like that. And I had to apologize to him for all that stuff. And then when I did it, he cried, he let it out, because he probably was holding it in a long time too. But when he let it out, I let it out. Now we can have a clean slate and start new. So if we all came from these communities that were daddies and stuff weren't there, or mama was working too much and you was a latchkey kid and you was doing all these things, you probably don't know yourself. We probably need to be very honest with our kids to let them know that we have no idea, but we're gonna learn how to do this ourselves.
That's awesome. Dr. Gerald, I have a question for you. We have so many churches in our community. What can they do to help with the issues around wellness?
We have so many churches. What?
For one, if we just open up our eyes to seeing it and embracing it, because I look at it like this: the church should be the hospital. So if someone is sick and they need care, why couldn't they come to the church? Because the church can pray for them. They can give them godly counsel. They can give them wisdom. They can, they can give them someone to go to if they need to go to a doctor. But it's the understanding their responsibility as the keeper of the community. The church has been a pillar of every community. That's why you see so many of them sitting on every corner. They're still there. Now it's the function of why is it there? What's the purpose of it? And so going back to understanding that the church is to help. It's the place where I need to help build the community as well. Not just the youth center, not just the doctor's office, not just the church should be able to build the community and especially help our men to grow, help our men in situations and times when they're struggling, that I'm not gonna close my door because you walk up with a shopping cart and you don't look the way you're supposed to look, or you don't smell the way you're supposed to smell. It's my job is to be able to help you to come out of that situation. How do we get back to this place? It's opening up our eyes and really realize why we're the pillar of the community.
So I want to touch on mental health, because I think a lot of times in our community, especially as Black men, we don't really talk about mental health. We don't really have the space to feel like it's okay to talk about it. Like if we're young, picked on, or teased. So I want to kind of ask, what have you all done to manage some of your mental health, especially as it comes to depression or anxiety, for men in our community?
For me, on the spiritual aspect, I chose to dive into my ancestry. And the reason being is, if you understand your ancestry, you can probably understand how you're dealing with stress in this lifetime. Things you gravitate to, like what your vices are. Like for instance, my mother died at 48 of a heart attack. At 48, watching her, she was always stressed out. But her stress mechanisms was drinking, it was cigarettes. Long story short, being honest, I'm gonna be very transparent. About 4 months ago, I got hit with high blood pressure out the blue. But guess what I was doing too much? Smoking cigars. She smoked cigarettes, I chose the expensive tobacco, right? So I was smoking cigars a lot. But why was I smoking cigars? Because I was under a lot of stress and that became my vice. So my mother's vice became my vice, which gave me what she had, and then she died from it. So it caught my attention. So if I didn't know that about my mother, if I know that about my grandmother who had the same issue, who died very early from heart attacks, I wouldn't know what the common denominator is. So for me, it was the spiritual understanding of my ancestry and digging into them, who they were, not just their names, not where they lived, not who they was married to, not how much they liked macaroni and cheese or whatever. Like, who were these people? Like how did they live and how did they function in life? I had to study that part. So when I putting the spirituality aspect to it and then applying it to my life, I don't have high blood pressure now, I'm good. But at the end of the day, I had to figure that out for me, like follow that rabbit hole backwards and see where that started for me.
Everything down. Even if you lose it.
So for me, I like to seek out experts, right? So I'm a financial advisor. Everyone here could jump on the internet and learn everything there is to know about how to deal with finances. It's gonna take you a long time to do it, or you can find someone that can give the shortcut, right? So when it comes to mental health, I'm a big advocate of seeking out qualified therapists to help you navigate some of those things that I could take 10 years, chat GTP in what's wrong with me, or I could have a conversation in a relationship with a couple of therapists who might be able to shorten that time of me learning from trial and error to get to my ultimate goal, which is wellness.
Yeah, I'm kind of in between, both of you guys. One thing I've learned is when you go to the doctor, you ask me a whole bunch of questions. Did your mama have this? Did your grandmother have this? And then, they give you a laundry list of stuff that you ask if this was that. And before I went to a doctor or dealing with stress or any of that stuff, I didn't understand. So I had to understand generational curses that have been passed down. If my mother passed away from this and now it's trying to attack me, that's not a blessing, that's a curse. That's something that is trying to literally take me out of the game. And so now, to whom much is given, much is required. If I know that someone has passed away from high blood pressure, I have to do what I have to do to make sure that I have the discipline and eat the right things and live the right way, exercise properly to be able to live a longer life than the person that passed away before me. So dealing with the stress aspect of it, the exercise, the eating right, dealing with depression. I talk a lot. I'm on social media and I call it my therapy session. So it doesn't bother me to tell all of my business. But then I have a wife that's a counselor that at some point in some time I had to accept who she was in my life, that I can actually talk to her. Because if you married, you rarely want to talk to your wife about anything because they're gonna have their own opinion. But I love talking to mine because she gives me good advice now. Well, always gave me good advice. I just happen to receive it differently now. So, yeah.
You see over there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass the mic.
For me, it goes back to sleep. If you're tired, like I said, you're gonna be cranky, increases your stress level. Stress levels increase depression. It all goes hand in hand. Then I have special people in my life who I can talk to about anything. I haven't seeked a therapist, but I have close friends in my life that I can just talk anything, and it comes back to me the same way I put it out there. Sometimes even worse.
Yes, if you overreact, you're right.
You know what I mean? So once again, I'm going back to it's okay to be okay. The first thing we have to recognize that as men, understand that it's okay to not be okay. Once we recognize that, then we can open up and start seeking the help that we need. We feel like we are just those iron men that we never get sick. We don't have depression. We don't have mental illnesses. We have to understand that something's wrong with me right now. I need to seek help, a therapist, counselor, whatever it is. You have to be willing to open up and be vulnerable. That's our problem sometimes, not being vulnerable and just saying, okay, it's that time. And then, so for me, like I said, for me, it's maintaining my sleep. I have to maintain my sleep patterns, or I'm a whole person that whether it's being mean, because I'm cranky, or sometimes I'm just down, don't have that energy to keep myself going, and then that builds up. You like that one day, you're here, 3 or 4 days, now you're depressed. You know what I mean? So So basically, like I said, for me, it's sleep. I have to get my sleep, or else my mental health is off.
So for me, I mean, I've dealt with depression and anxiety, especially when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. But when I became aware, your body doesn't forget the things that happen from inception. You may consciously forget it, but your body don't. So sometimes we do these things and we don't know why. We have to go back, and they touched on it. We have to go back to remembrance of what we don't remember consciously. And that's from the generation before you or the environment around you when you were younger. So I had to release. So when it comes to trauma, we have these small, medium, and large capsules, they call them, and you have to release them. Because when you don't, they do something to your body. There's something physically that happened, and I wrote it in my book. I called it black smoke, black magic, but it actually comes into your body. And when you start to feel sick, you're like, man, what is going on? It could be a situation that's happened in your life, and your stomach started hurting. Why? It released something. So now you have, that's why I do the journal. I had a lot of trauma coming up. I didn't realize some of it until I was in my 30s. I knew it existed. I just didn't know how much it affected me. So I had to deal with, my mother passed away when I was 9 years old. I didn't cry. I'm 9. My father told me something when she passed away. He said, you're the oldest boy. You're responsible for your younger brothers. So he put that, you're a man. You can't release it. So I held that until my 30s. I didn't cry about my mother's death until then. So I'm using an example because that's a lot of things that happen in all of us. It could be something different that you're holding on to. And it was affecting me. So you have to sit down and write. Writing is one of the number one things for therapists. Write. So yeah, that's how I dealt with it.
I think for me, it's just accepted that it can happen to you. All of my life, I'm a Marine, martial artist, I'm an ultimate badass. I got caught slipping about 7 years ago. I had a stroke. And you can't tell now, most people just think I hurt my leg. But actually I had a stroke because I was being a knucklehead and not taking my blood pressure meds. You know, and I never thought it could happen to me. I was fit, running out, can outrun anybody, do anything. And the day it happened, you know what I was thinking about when I was in the hospital? I ain't got time for this. I gotta do this and this. I didn't realize I was stressed. It wasn't stress to me, which is what I do every day. I operate on 4 hours of sleep. I'm always busy, I'm always active. So that was me, just accepting that you could be depressed. It could happen to you. My father and my grandfather both died from throat cancer, so I never smoked a day in my life. So it's true what they said about knowing your family history. But the other stuff that'll kill you is Dr. Google. How many of you go to Dr. Google? You go to Dr. Google and find out what the symptoms are. Okay, well, it might be this because this ain't that bad. You're not gonna look at the bad one, you're gonna look at the one that's least bad, and that's the one you're gonna go with, right? So Dr. Google can kill you. And I just say, just accept that we can all be depressed, we can all be touched, even a badass Marine from Chicago. Yep.
Jesse, I want to ask you a question. You talked a little bit about this, but there might be some new people in the room. So I want to ask, how would you define hood-based trauma, and how is it different from other types of trauma? And then what are some signs that a man might be carrying unresolved trauma from growing up in a high-stress environment?
Oh, now. Come on now.
I'm gonna reverse engineer that. How you can identify it, anchor. Please, anchor. who grew up in the hood are just angry because of everything we've already said. Like, we've been holding in this information a long time. I'll just start with me. I discovered it, you just asked me this question over there. I discovered this idea because I was going through this cycle of just breakups and stuff with females, and I couldn't understand it. And I had a bad breakup that broke my heart to the core. And I couldn't understand why I can't get this right. I went to a therapist, and she's asking me all these questions. This is a Caucasian lady from Brentwood who has no idea what Crenshaw and Slauson look like, right? But she's asking me all these questions about my life, and that was the first time I was able to put a lot of the things that I went through on the table so I could literally see it for what it was, right? And it made me really kind of get an aerial view of my life, and I was like, this ain't normal. Like, I ain't supposed to have so many homeboys dead. My homeboy ain't supposed to be in jail for 55 years, locked up, and we were just kicking it a couple months ago. My cousin shouldn't have got shot with an AK 25 times on 3rd Avenue in Exposition. Like, I shouldn't have had to go through that. I shouldn't have to go to school with $2 a day with holes in my shoes. And poverty is a hood trauma, right? So the things that I had to put on the table that I was too ashamed to share with other people for so long, I held it in for a long time. And I was a hairpin trigger. If you said something to me wrong, I was just knocking you completely out with no question. The anger came forward first, and then the environment I lived in reinforced it. You couldn't be a punk in South Central LA. You couldn't go to Audubon and go to the jungles and be on Slauson and let somebody talk to you crazy, because you're going to be labeled the punk and they're going to be coming at you next. So I had to, with all that stuff I went through, when I was talking to that lady, it all came out in that moment. So to answer the question, post-traumatic hood disorder is that. The stuff that I just named, guess what? It's in every song you listen to right now. It's normalized to the core. Poverty is normal. Poverty behavior is normal. I guarantee you, I take somebody out of poverty in LA or Compton or Watson anyway and put them in anywhere that's nice right now, it will be poverty in 10 years, because it's the mindset of the person that's leaving the place, going to a new one. I remember San Bernardino was a very clean place back in the days. A very clean Caucasian-based place back in the days, right? But it became the murder capital of the world when people from Watts and stuff got moved out there when they got displaced, right? So it's, for me, hood-based traumas is a mindset that we normalize, we promote. Most of the people, one of the people I like, but I can't stand the most is 50 Cent, because he has normalized this trauma with his Power series. He has made the ghetto a soap opera that everybody now watches it on a weekly basis. It's become normal. So for me, y'all, let me stop being so long with it. So for me, the hood-based traumas is everything I just named. It's all the stuff that you go through in the neighborhood. You really can't speak to it. I only spoke to that lady. Guess why? Because I knew I couldn't speak to my homies. I knew I couldn't speak to my father. I knew my mother was already gone. So I was just basically on my own. And when I was in a barber shop getting my hair cut, I just felt it coming up in me. And right across the street was this therapy place. I went over there and I booked an appointment with this lady, and that's when I first discovered that I really did have hood-based trauma.
I have another question. This is a personal one, kind of off the dome. I have a regular conversation with two of my friends who are incarcerated. One has been incarcerated for 15 years. The other has been incarcerated for 20 years and is serving a life sentence. And we often have conversations about emotional intelligence and how sometimes when we were younger, we just used to act and not really, we used to act off of emotion. So what are some of the things that you do to kind of regulate your emotions in high stress situations and high stress environments? And then what can we share with our young men here who need to kind of learn about that?
Making it tough, okay. It's all about choices at the end of the day. Like, the only problem is that most of us that come from the hood don't know we have a choice. But for me, I had a friend, I just told y'all, he got sentenced to 55 years. He did 25 of that sentence. He got out about 6 years ago, and he just died like 3 years ago. So basically, the rest of his whole adult life was just wasted because he wouldn't hear the choices that he had. Even though he was a great rapper, he had a contract before he went to jail. He just wouldn't make the choice to change. Young men, if you're here in this room, I would say to you, I was talking to that brother right there earlier. If you are in that position, you have to be the black sheep out of everybody around you. It is okay to be different. I was always the different person. I never liked gangbanging. I never liked the hood life, but I couldn't say it out loud because it just wasn't okay to say it that time, right? But I'm telling you right now, it is okay to be different. And what you gotta do with that different is follow that rabbit hole. And the reason why I mentioned the thing about ancestry is because our only goal, period, let me say this spiritually, our only goal, period, as human beings is to find out what our purpose is, fulfill that purpose, and make Earth better than we found it. Does anybody else agree with that besides me? What does gangbanging have to do with that? How does selling drugs help you with that mission? It doesn't. So if you are on this mission of, I'm not gonna say that, get on a mission to figure out what your purpose is. Every animal on this planet knows what it came to do besides human beings. An ant knows what it's supposed to do. A bee knows what it's supposed to do. A fish, a bird, they all know what they want to do, but we somehow only think we know because we got a degree in whatever they told us we got a degree in. But is that your purpose? Y'all quiet on me now. So, to every youngster, I would say, black man in general, I don't care if you a youngster or you a grown up, because most of us grown up, we still didn't figure it out yet, being honest. If we're gonna be honest. But if you want to change the trajectory of where you came from, young brothers, make a choice to find your purpose. Figure out who you are and pursue that. Do everything in that direction. And if it does not align with your purpose, it is okay to let it go.
So I want to kind of shift us into maybe talking about family and legacy. Sherman, I have a question for you. How has, talked about, your experience, you talked about your experience, and I wanted to just kind of ask, how has healing in your own life influenced the way you show up for your family, your community, or your purpose?
Well, I understand that I put too much good karma out for bad karma to take me out. So I always believe in giving to people. It'll come back to you. I'm a guy that'll go to a restaurant and say, how many people? I'll be like 5. I'll give you 5 $50 bills. So these are people I may never see in my life again. But the reason why I do it is you never know what kind of day somebody had, right? And I try to change the narrative of what they try to say about black men, right? Like we don't give, we're cheap, we're loud, we're disrespectful. I give to people and I try to make them feel stuff that they probably would never feel. You know what people say, like, wow, I say, you know how you feel today? Make somebody else feel like that. It could be 10, 20 years from now, but just make somebody else feel that.
Free.
And I try to lead example with my sons. And the one thing I tell both of my boys who are 21 and 18, I don't want you to be me. I want you to be better than me. That's it. Don't be me, be better. So, and if you see me doing it, then you can do it. I did things a little different. I graduated high school, I started my business. Next month, I'm going to college to learn business management. I've already did the business, I'm just going back to it. And my main reason for that is how can I tell my sons to go to school if I didn't go to school, right? Lead by example. Every guy up here has said that, lead by example.
That's right. Come on now. Come on. That's right.
How can healthy eating habits become part of a man's legacy to his family and community?
Once again, it's going back to the same thing. Gotta lead by example. You know, if you're not eating right, like you said, his son, how is his son's going to learn to eat right if he's not eating right? It's the same thing, you know, and once again, it all goes back to health, to wellness, health and wellness. If I'm eating right and I'm healthy, I'm gonna last a long time. And I'm there for my sons, for my family, to show them that if you do this, this is where you'll go. Now, things happen, sometimes you get sick, some people don't, their pancreas doesn't produce insulin. You need the insulin, no problem, it happens. But if you're not eating right, you are pushing an envelope to make it happen, you know what I mean? So, once again, you know, that legacy is, lead by example, showing them that by eating right, you know, exercising, things like that, you know, it can, you too can be a healthy person.
The question is about legacy, right? I mean, we keep echoing the same thing. You know, of course,
Be a part of that
example, you know,
Healthy.
you know, for me, I wanted to change my legacy of my family. My father passed away when he was 49 because he ate like his father ate. So as a kid, I was with my father all the time. So he would do stuff like, we would go eat bad, and then he would say, don't tell your mama, because she's making fish at home. So what, I had to eat twice. So that's what he was putting in my mind, that we're going to eat these ham hocks, fatbacks, chitlins, and these tripe sandwiches. And he had 2 triple bypasses, 2. And he still didn't learn. And I asked him, I said, why you? He said, well, you have to die some kind of way. And that was reckless to say. It's reckless to say. Because I didn't want my legacy to be that. So I became more serious when I got sick. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I was in my 30s. I'm like, no, he was 49, so that's not going to be me. So my household and my children, they start following what I was doing. So they don't eat like that. They don't even know what a fatback is. Never had it. We didn't have pork. We didn't have those things. So because of that not only changed their life, but it's gonna change communities. Because I touched them, they're gonna touch somebody else. They're gonna have a family one day, and they're gonna do the same thing. And so that's what's gonna change that legacy in those generations.
Gerald, we have an audience question, but I'm gonna turn it into a 2-parter for those of us who don't really know much about PPK. So can you tell us a little bit more about PPK? And then the question is, can you tell us how PPK helped you get to a healthy place?
Yeah, so PPK was something that I was coming out of a bad place, the depression. I was in a really, really dark and bad place, and there was a book that was written by the author Derek Prince, and he introduced me to PPK, Priest, Prophet, and King. And I grew up in the church. I would say I was saved. I would say I was a Christian. I would say all of that. I was saved, but outside of it, I wasn't living that. And so my marriage was horrible, and it was due to me. It was due to my traumas. It was due to my ignorance. It was due to just being a bad person. And so the change was, it's when I started to really understand what the PPK was, and that for him, that's Priest, Prophet, and King. For one, I'm not calling everybody a prophet. But you should be able to read the word and understand the truth and speak the truth. You should be able to prophesy. So as a priest, what was my prayer time like with God? I said I was in church, but what was my prayer time? What was my intimate time with God that he can literally show me? because I was walking around with scales over my eyes. I wouldn't, if you was to say that I was a bad person, I'm like, dude, I'm a lover, I give. I help people, I do all of this stuff. But what was I looking like in the eyes of God? What was I looking like in the eyes of my family? So I started to understand that I had to take my situations and bring it before God as a priest. As a prophet, I had to understand that I had to study the word to be able to use the word to help me to walk out this everyday life. Because you can read the word and you can study the word, but if you're not gonna walk it out, then why are you reading it? You're just wasting time. And I was wasting time. I was sitting in church, listening to preachers preach. I was reading the word, but I was walking. I would walk out of the church and go into a dope house. I'll walk out of the church and go in sexual perversion. So I was living a double-minded life, but God was trying to show me. And so the PPK is not just a brand, it's a lifestyle. So it helped me to understand as a prophet, I can read the truth and I can speak the truth over my life, that Jesus died on the cross for my sins, and that his blood can wash away all of my sins, that I can stand before you without a spot, wrinkle, or blemish. So I can stand it, but I'm not ignorant to know that I didn't cause problems. That now as a king, I have to be entrusted with my family, entrusted with the people that God has entrusted me with as a pastor, as a leader. And so now I can't just handle them any kind of way. We're talking about modeling. If I couldn't model it, then I was going to have a problem. So it was going to be reproducing something that is a generational problem. If you're talking about poverty, you're talking about something that's been passed down because it's been modeled. The lack of knowledge, the lack of financial literacy, the lack of budgeting. If you don't know it, then you're gonna pass it down to your kids. And so I had to understand that if my children watching me pray, I'm asking them questions. How can I pray for you today? What do you need? And most of them probably say, well, I don't know. Okay, then pray for them right now so they can see you praying, so they can model it. And now how many times they watching you read the word? And so now I read the word and apply the word to govern as a king what it is. And so I use it, I wear it every day. I put it, every piece of clothing I have on, it's gonna have PPK. Why? Because it reminds me and holds me accountable to this lifestyle. I know what deliverance look like. I know what my old self look like, and that's not where I wanna go. I want to be more of the true identity. We talked about having a false identity. Your traumas, your hurts, your pains, your disappointments, all of those things alter your identity of how you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself, and now you're stuck in a place trying to figure out who you are. And we're grown men trying to figure out who we are, and because of something that happened to us as a kid that grew up with us, that has caused us to have a false identity that now God is trying to show you, but he's going to show you in a small place. It's that intimate time. Why would I talk to you if I don't know you? But if I get to know you, now we can have a real conversation. I sat here and I talked with these men. We have a real conversation in a 3-minute time. You sit at the table, 3-minute time. The conversation got real. It became empowerment. And so having an intimate relationship with the Father in my priest role and studying as a prophet, it makes me have better decisions. I can make better decisions. I wasn't a good decision maker. It took me 10 years to figure that part out. I don't bring that on nobody. But it took me a long time to figure out how to actually be a better husband, a better father, a better son, a better Christian, just a better man. And so that was my walk. That's what PPK is. That's the walk of the PPK. And we have a mentoring program. So I mentor men around the world on the husband, the father, and the role of who they are. Because some people just didn't know.
Greg, come on now.
We have about 7 more minutes left, but, I wanted to, kind of touch on the financial piece, Marcus, really quickly. Because as we were sitting at that table, we were talking about, you know,
Well, you look at the decoration.
getting some money, blowing it, or just not having the financial literacy, right? Now, I understand that 100%, so I wanted to ask you, what are some of the common myths or misconceptions in our community around money, credit, and wealth building?
Money, credit, and wealth building.
The pastor just said that's a loaded question. I'll just say, I'm not a pastor, I take notes when these wise brothers over here talk. But one of the ones that I keep hearing is that money is the root of all evil. You know? Those things that, you know, depending on your relationship with your Bible and your pastor, you may have that type of understanding. But I would just encourage you to talk through that with your pastor, because that may not be exactly how it says and what it's meant. Right. But that's one, right? Just a mindset of money is, I don't need to give every dollar an assignment for the future because it's not good anyway, right? It's tainted somehow. Another issue, my brother said earlier, was about like peer pressure. A lot of times when we come across money, especially if we've come from a trauma background, one of the first things we want to do is reward ourselves for the hard work, for being the first person in several generations that have had access to money, right? So we spend that money on things that are in the long run not necessarily the best for us. Depreciating assets, clothes, cars, things that lose value over time just to temporarily make us feel good about the hard work and all of the things we had to go through to finally get access to them. Right? You can have a conversation and not be guarded, not have a block over learning some basic principles. In the Bible, it says, a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So that is a concept that we can start thinking about and working towards rather than the limiting mindsets.
Awesome, so this one is for everyone. I want to know, what's one action or mindset shift you'd love to see every person in the room walk away with today?
I said I would like to see everybody walk away with it today is just the importance of, I'm from the healthcare field, so the first thing I want to say is the importance of your annual checkups. In my practice, going back to mental health, if your mental health isn't right, 9 times out of 10, I won't even see you. Because if your mental health isn't right, I can't get you to buy into the plan. You know what I mean? So I will immediately refer you to, my colleagues to get you on a plan, whether it's therapy, whether it's medication, or whatever it is, because we can't come up with a wellness plan if you are depressed or if you have some kind of other issues going on. How can I treat your diabetes? How can I treat your hypertension if you? As soon as I give you medication, you're going to go home and do something different. They'll be stressed out, and medication isn't going to work. And I'm not the kind of person that's going to throw medication at you. I want to figure out why. So if you look at the room right now, most of the people are here are women, not men. This forum is for men's wellness, correct? But women are here right now. So in my practice, I tell my patients to bring your loved one with you. 9 times out of 10, as men, we're not going to tell the truth. Being honest. Not at all. What's going on with you today? Oh no, I'm good. The First thing I do is look at the wife or the girlfriend or the daughter or whoever, and they go, no, he's not, he's lying. It is what it is. So and when you come once, I tell them all the time, don't make your appointment around his schedule, make your appointment around your schedule. Because if you're okay, if you're free, he's gonna come. That's just what I do. I don't care. I'm not in it for the money. My friends will tell you all the time, I love what I do. I wake up every morning to do this. This is what I love. So, walking away, ask the questions to your doctor. Have a plan. Don't just let that doctor talk to you and give you medication. Why are you giving me this medication? I'm probably going off topic, but I'm passionate about this, so I have to get it out before we go. When you go into that doctor's office, you be prepared with hello, okay. When you're a week out from your appointment, get a piece of paper, write down all your symptoms, all your questions. Because when you come, you totally forget. I forgot to tell you this. I have so many patients that leave and I get a phone call. Oh, doc, when I was there, I forgot to ask you this. It's like, I hate to say it, but you gotta make another appointment. I can't do that right now, you know what I mean? So, have a plan. Make sure you ask the doctor, what is a plan? You give me this medication, what am I looking for? Not, oh, it's gonna take care of your blood pressure. What am I looking for? I'm looking at 120 over 80, I'm looking at 100 over 80, what is it? I'm 200 right now, so if I get to 160, I'm good. No, you're not. Our plan is to get you down to the therapeutic level, but what is that therapeutic level, right? So you have to have a plan, have a relationship with your doctor and write these things down. Be prepared before you come in. Get labs before you come in. Like I said, I'm not about the money, but a lot of doctors will not, they will say, oh, come to me first, then I'll get your labs. Guess what you just did? You made 2 appointments, that could have been 1. Because why? I hate to say it, but he wants the money. So before you come to my practice, the first thing I do is we talk. I get you a list of labs. So when you come into me, you have your lab results. We're talking about something. And there's an actual visit. Not a visit for me to tell you what you're going to do. It's a visit to tell you what you did and what you should have done and what we're going to do now. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure you guys probably have experienced it. You go to your doctor, okay, now I need to go get these labs. You get the labs, you gotta make another appointment, which is about a month out, because a lot of doctors are packed. We have, waiting lists of the yin yang. So if you can talk to your doctor, get a list of labs, get your stuff done, prior to coming now, sitting down, we're going over these negative results, or hopefully they're normal results, but if they are negative, now we can come up with a plan and get you on the right track when you leave. Not leave and then he calls you back, or hopefully call you back and tell you, oh, I found this is what we want to do. You might have questions, So once again, I want you to leave knowing that what I want you to change is finding somebody who you love, somebody who you trust, and have them come to your doctor's appointments with you. Or at least sit down and write the list of questions down and say, hey, listen, when you come back, these questions better be answered. Because I'm saying it again, we as men, we would not tell the truth. I have it every single time. That the wife would come the next time and be like, hey, he left and you didn't answer this. I didn't answer, he didn't say anything. I asked him a question, what are you here for? Oh, no. So once again, go with your loved ones, your daughters, your sons, whoever it is that you trust, bring them to your appointments with you, or at least sit down a week before and say, hey, listen, I need this answered. You had high blood pressure, you had a headache for a week, you had constipation, so we can go through all those things, okay? Sorry.
Wow, you guys you see the wife just looking at me like, yeah! Wow, okay. I would say, just be honest when you know you need help. Be okay with needing help, because the people that try not to believe they don't need help, they'll say, I'm good, I'm all right, I'm straight. All of those things are warning signs to me. So I would say, please, if you find someone that you can talk to. If it's not a spouse, a friend, that they're gonna hold you accountable, right? Not allow you feeling depressed or feeling suicidal. I'm not saying that they're clinical scientists, that they can give you a diagnosis or any of that stuff, but a lot of stuff is just being able to talk to someone. If you have someone that you can trust, that you can talk to, that's not going to say, oh man up, or stop acting like that. You know, you wanna be able to be vulnerable. You wanna be able to say, man, I'm dealing with this thing and this is what I've been dealing with and I need some help. You know, help me find something. That if you can't help me find something, or help me, go with me to this place so I can have some support to walk this thing out. Because if not, you try to do a Lone Ranger, consistency will become your best friend. I mean, inconsistency will become your best friend, because you won't be consistent with talking to that person, and you definitely won't be consistent in going to the doctor. So I'm apologize right now, Doc. I'm planning on going to the doctor when I go home.
The one thing I would want everyone to take away when it comes to finances is do one thing different than you've been doing, right? So if you look yourself in the mirror and you say, I got it, I've been doing great, I'm 100% confident I'm gonna be financially independent at my target date, then fine. But if not, then do something different. That different thing could be, we're gonna go through our budget with a fine-tooth comb and figure out why what's going out doesn't match with what's going in, right? It could be saying, we don't have an emergency fund. So we're walking around with a big stress and anxiety, worried about a minor setback. The average American can't put their hands on $400 if they had an emergency, right? I would imagine our community is probably even less than that. And then, lastly, if you need help with implementation, reach out to somebody. Find a financial expert. You might have to have some more conversations with your pastor about why you're having mental roadblocks. You might have to have a conversation with your therapist to figure out why you're having roadblocks to implementing strategies that are in your best interest. But just do one thing different. You decide what that's going to be, and you'll be on the right track.
I'm gonna answer by asking a question to the men. If y'all look around the room, it seems like there's more women than men today, right? I wonder why that is. I'm gonna ask the men, by a show of hands, including everybody on the panel, how many people have experienced stress in their life as men? A lot of stress even. Okay. How many people have experienced depression as a man? Wow. Now, Doc, I was doing some research on ChatGPT. I found something that was interesting. It said that drive-bys and chicken wings are not the #1 killer of black men. Stress and heart attacks are. Would you say that's accurate? Okay. So if everybody in this man, every man raised their hand, they've been stressed out, so no wonder why we die early, right? I'm gonna reverse that, engineer that now. Women, I'm gonna talk to y'all. How many times have y'all checked on y'all's man's mental health? I know you have. I can see you have. I know you have. Those of us who are lucky to have a wife like my man right here, right? This ain't for y'all. I'm talking to the people who don't have that blessing, right? I mean, I have never been asked by anybody I was with, how am I doing mentally? My mother has never asked me that question. A sister, anybody that I was with, females, fiance, I've been married twice. Nobody has ever asked me, hey, Jocelyn, how are you handling your mother's death? How are you handling the bills? I know we are struggling. How are you handling it? Because sometimes when you go through poverty, that is hella stressful, but nobody asks you how you're handling it, man. They just expect you to have testosterone and figure it out. Like you're just supposed to osmosisly figure it out. That's not real, especially when you come from poverty. So I'm gonna reverse engineer this and say this again. If you have a man, ladies, do me a favor. Ask him that question. How are you? Oh, are you okay today, baby? How was your day? How are you handling work? Do something that simple and watch how much that man feels so much better by you asking him that one question, because most of us don't get asked that question. That's why we go through depression, because we have nobody to talk to. So if you leave here with anything today that from this conversation, especially from my mouth to your ears, is to, man, number one, know that it's okay to not be okay. Know that it's okay for you to go seek help from somebody. Know that it's okay to feel a certain way if you don't know what you're doing, but first you gotta actually admit you don't know what you're doing, wherever that is for you. But it's okay to feel that way. And ladies, I would say again, just ask them that question, because if we wanna have families again, if we wanna have really complete families where we have functionality in the household, then we gotta deal with it on both ends. That's what I would like for people to leave today. Thank you.
One more thing, man, get your prostates checked. Okay? It's not if, it's when. Every man in here will have a prostate issue. It's not if, it's when. Some earlier, some later, and you see what happened with Biden recently. They say that he didn't know, he just found out. But it can start at the age of, I have somebody in my practice that's 35 with prostate issues. So we're not gonna escape it. If you live long enough, you will have a prostate issue. So when you turn 40 years old, and if you have symptoms before that, start getting your prostate checked. We don't wanna do it because we don't like that process, but make sure it's part of your yearly checkup when you go to your doctor. Sorry.
So what I want everybody to leave with, I mean, I love these type of conversations, but I want everyone to leave with an openness and awareness, and that leads to self-discovery. And that self-discovery leads to your process of change. And that process of change leads to your healing, whether that's in an emotional way, mental way, whether that's in a financial way. And not let this be a one-off. It's a conversation we have today. You know, continue the conversation, if not with us, with somebody. So you can continue to open yourself up to the things that you need, so you can be aware of it. So you can continue, my thing is mastering your life. Mastering who you are is a daily thing. It's daily. So I have to do something every day to help me. So that's why I always ask myself the question, what did I do today to help my tomorrow? And that's a question you can ask you, what did you do? What did you eat today? So when you think about, oh man, I had some McDonald's today, did they help you tomorrow? No. And have you heard of the slow drip syndrome? That water, you know, you've seen a slow drip over time, that bucket is gonna get full from that slow drip. I always say, when we enter this world, give this example, when we enter this world, we're like a clear glass of water. But over time, just imagine a little speck of dirt continues, and you never clean the water over the years. So now you're 30, you're 40. What does that glass of water look like? It looks like mud. Because you never took the time to heal. You never took the time to, I'm gonna eat healthy. So now you're 30, 40, 50 years old and say you're gonna change, you think it's gonna happen overnight. Absolutely not. You spent 40 years doing the wrong thing. Don't give up just because it doesn't seem like it's happening for you instantly. I say that I'm healed from multiple sclerosis. It didn't happen overnight. I was diagnosed, I went through the whole process, I'm healed now, but it wasn't like I prayed about it, God came down and I was walking next week. No. I had to change everything about me, everything from the inside out. So again, I want you to walk away feeling like you heard everything we said, you open to it, you're aware now about going to the doctor, you're aware about the trauma, you're aware about the financial things, so now you can take those things and then you're gonna apply it to your life. Self-discovery, and it's gonna allow you to change.
Try to simplify this. When I was a kid, I seen this sign on the wall, barbershop, and it still applies to me to this day. Nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. Say it again. Nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. Wake up, educate yourself, and the last thing is believe in what you see in the mirror. If you don't believe it, the next man's not gonna believe it. All right? Thank you.
Y'all dropped some absolute bombs. Can we give them another round of applause? Thank you to Dr. Kim and the Trinity Way Development Corporation for putting this amazing panel together. It was fantastic. We were gonna go into breakout rooms, but instead, if you all just wanna stay and ask some questions to the panelists, that's what we're gonna do moving forward. So thank you all so much for having me. Thank you all so much for having the panelists. And if you wanna stay to ask questions, be my guest. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Raffle time. That's my number.
Yeah. First of all, let's go ahead and give another applause for this. So much information that has gone forth. I really hope you all can just take this information. And as the panelists said, we want to continue this conversation because as it relates to health, spirituality, just legacy, it definitely is not a one-off. This is something that we have to continuously focus on and really be intentional, as we try to be the person who God intended us to be, not the person that we settle for. So I just want to, encourage you all. There will be more discussion type activities, that Trinity Way will be doing. So more information will be coming out. But let's go ahead and get to this, because I know you guys are just holding that ticket. All right. I know, yes, before we go, did everybody get a ticket?
No.
Oh, well, let's go ahead. I see three. Okay, three.
Oh, I get to come back and see me.
Perfect, all right.
It's green. You gave me your other hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go back now. Yeah, good job, good job.
Come on over, son. Yes, right here. You can put that in here. Yes, and I'm gonna shake up the hat.
50.
He's already saying what that number is.
What was the yellow one for?
We have, okay, you were.
I'm fired from this one.
No, that's it.
You have both kids?
I need a ticket. Yeah, that's what's in it. All right. Yeah, let me shake.
You gotta be present to win. You gotta be
Yeah,
present.
you have to be present to win. So if they're not here, yes. All right, some people left. All right. All right. So because this fell out, I just feel like this is the one. So I'm gonna just read the last three, actually, I'm gonna read them all. 575-046. 575, all right. All right, so this gentleman in the back. Yes, congratulations. You got a gift card. All right. All right. Okay, all right. Okay. I know, right? All right. Okay. Here we go. And we have 575-027. 575-027.
The person that was in front of me.
And they're not here. Moving on.
That was in front of me.
031. 575-031. We have a Target gift card for you. Yes. 575.
This was not planned, believe me.
Okay. Thank you so much again.
But I
As
kinda
Pamela said, if you
Oh.
stay and hang around and
And I
ask
didn't cry.
questions, the panelists will.
And I didn't cry. Almost cried. And check this out. And we have one of my favorite gospel rappers here. Soldier for the street. Straight up soldier, red breed in the house, baby. And then
Boots on the ground, man.
boots on the ground. My son was hitting some of his lyrics the other day.
That's right.
Hey.
That's my guy right there.
Because the next time you perform, you already know.
He been in the program and everything.
Yeah,
He been-
Politics
that's how we do it.
America, yeah.
Real ministry, brother.
Yeah.
Outside the church, you know.
Yeah, outside of church, real life. You know,
You gonna get him?
practicing the practical application and putting it out there, not being ashamed to represent God.
That's my bro right here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
My
you.
bro.
All right, let me see. Yeah. Out here representing. Oh, yeah. Yep, and then the ironic thing, one of my favorite gospel rappers won.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. Yeah, because I was talking about him earlier. I was like, why isn't Red Reed and Camp 8 Republic up here? Because they be getting some tracks. They be rapping about the Lord. So let's get this photo shoot out the way. Until then, I'm putting the thumbnail to this online and y'all can check it out. Peace.
Let me get a video real quick.